There is a particular kind of suffering, a quiet and persistent ache that many feel but few can name. It is the experience of being chronically misunderstood. It is the deep frustration of speaking from your heart with the purest of intentions, only to have your words miss their mark entirely, to be twisted into something you never meant. It is the loneliness that comes from offering a gesture of peace that is perceived as an act of aggression, or sharing a moment of quiet contentment that is interpreted as cold indifference. To live in this state is to feel like you are speaking a language that no one else around you has learned. You begin to question yourself, and eventually to protect yourself, you may retreat into silence. In this silence, the mind searches for an explanation, a story that can make sense of this painful dissonance. A romantic and perhaps comforting idea can arise, that the reason for this gap in understanding is not a fault in you or in others, but a fundamental difference in origin. The idea that your soul, your very essence, is from another realm, and that this constant misunderstanding is the final, undeniable sign of your otherworldly nature. But the Shaolin Path teaches us to be very careful with the stories we tell ourselves, especially the ones that comfort the ego. What if this concept of another realm is true, but not in the way we imagine? What if the realm you are from is not a distant star or another dimension, but an inner landscape that you have meticulously cultivated through discipline, practice, and silence? And what if the feeling of being misunderstood is not a sign that you should retreat from this world, but a call to a higher level of practice, the challenge to become a bridge between your world and the one around you? To understand this phenomenon, we must first accept that we are all living in different realms, right here, right now. These are not physical places, but realms of consciousness. The first, and most common, is the default realm. This is the realm in which the ordinary, untrained mind operates. It is a world governed by the relentless demands of the ego, by the push and pull of desire and aversion, by the constant noise of past regrets and future anxieties. In the default realm, communication is rarely pure. People do not listen to what is being said. They listen through a thick filter of their own insecurities, their own expectations, their own unresolved emotional pain. Words are not received as they are sent, but are instantly interpreted, judged, and categorized based on the listener's own inner turmoil. It is a realm of reaction, not response. Someone offers a piece of constructive feedback, and it is heard as a personal attack. Someone expresses a moment of quiet joy, and it is perceived as arrogant boasting. Someone remains silent and still, and they are judged as aloof or uncaring. This is the water in which most of humanity swims, a turbulent ocean of projection and assumption. It is not a place of malice, but a place of profound unconsciousness. The second realm is the one we, as practitioners, strive to inhabit. We can call it the cultivated realm. This is not a place we are born into, but one we must build moment by moment through dedicated practice. It is a realm defined by its inner quiet. Its foundations are built of stillness, its walls are made of discipline, and its air is filled with the clarity of presence. When you operate from the cultivated realm, your motivations shift. You're no longer driven by the need for external validation or the fear of judgment. Your actions are guided by an inner compass of purpose and principle. Your sense of wealth is measured in equanimity, not in currency. Your sense of security comes from your own inner stability, not from the approval of others. Naturally, the way you communicate from this realm is entirely different. You speak with less urgency, with more intention. You choose your words carefully, not to manipulate, but to convey truth as clearly as possible. You are comfortable with silence, seeing it not as an absence, but as a space of potential. Now imagine a conversation between a person speaking from the heart of the cultivated realm and a person deeply entrenched in the turbulence of the default realm. The dissonance is inevitable. Your calmness may be seen as a lack of passion. Your discipline may be interpreted as rigid judgment. Your non-attachment to outcomes may be perceived as a lack of care. Your contentment with simplicity may be viewed as a lack of ambition. This is the source of the misunderstanding. It is not because you are from another planet. It is because you are operating from a different plane of consciousness, a different set of values, a different internal frequency. The true conflict, the most dangerous part of this journey, arises in how you choose to interpret this dissonance. The great enemy here is the ego's temptation. When faced with constant misunderstanding, the ego, which is a master storyteller, will seize the opportunity to create a narrative of specialness and victimhood. It will whisper to you, "You are not like them. You are more evolved, more sensitive, a rare and ancient soul. They cannot understand you because you are above them." This story feels good. It soothes the pain of loneliness. It transforms your social awkwardness into a badge of spiritual honor. But it is a trap. It is the most seductive poison on the spiritual path. The moment you accept this story, your growth stops. You have enclosed yourself in a fortress of superiority, and in doing so, you have created an impenetrable barrier to true connection and compassion. You become isolated, resentful, and your practice stagnates. You have mistaken a challenge for a conclusion. This is what is meant by the final sign. It is not the final sign that proves your fantastical origin. It is the final sign that your practice has reached a critical and perilous stage. Your inner work has been successful enough to create a noticeable gap between you and the default state of the world. But now, the next, and perhaps most important phase of your training must begin. The challenge is no longer just to cultivate your inner garden, but to learn how to let its fragrance bless the world without being disturbed by the storms that rage outside its walls. It is a call to develop skillful means, to embody your wisdom in the world, to become a bodhisattva, not a hermit. The practice then is not to retreat further into your realm, but to learn how to build a bridge. It is a practice of profound and courageous engagement. The first pillar of this bridge is the practice of deep listening. Before you even think of being understood, you must seek, with your entire being, to understand. When someone speaks to you from the default realm, listen beneath their words. What is the fear that is driving their anger? What is the insecurity that is fueling their judgment? What is the past pain that is causing them to misinterpret your intention? You must listen with the ear of a doctor, diagnosing the root cause of the suffering that is manifesting as their words. This is the beginning of compassion. When you understand the source of their projection, you can no longer take it personally. Their reaction is not about you. It is a reflection of their own inner state. This understanding instantly dissolves your own reactivity and defensiveness. The second pillar is the practice of skillful speech. This is a core teaching of the Buddha, a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. It means that our communication must be not only truthful, but also beneficial, kind, and appropriate to the listener and the moment. It is not enough to have a pure intention in your heart. You must learn the art of translating that purity into a language the other person can receive. This requires immense awareness. It means simplifying your message. We often try to share complex spiritual ideas with people who are not ready to hear them. Skillful speech is like being a good host. You offer your guests the food they can digest, not the food you prefer to eat. It means watching your tone, your body language. Your calm and centered posture might be perceived as rigid and intimidating. Soften your gaze. Let a gentle warmth infuse your voice. Sometimes the most skillful speech is no speech at all, but simply a silent, compassionate presence. You must become a master translator, speaking not just from your realm, but into theirs. The third pillar is the practice of the mirror. Every time you are misunderstood, after you have listened deeply and released your own reactivity, you must turn your gaze inward. This is the practice of radical responsibility. Ask yourself, how did my expression contribute to this outcome? Was my timing poor? Was my language unclear? Was there a subtle energy of impatience or superiority in my presence? We must be willing to see our own part in the dynamic. Perhaps our silence was not peaceful but withholding. Perhaps our clarity was not helpful but clinical. To look in the mirror is to be a perpetual student of communication, constantly refining your ability to bridge the gap. It is to abandon the ego's need to be right, and to embrace the practitioner's commitment to be effective, compassionate, and wise. Finally, there is the fourth pillar, the practice of non-attachment to outcomes. You can build the most beautiful, sturdy bridge in the world, but you cannot force anyone to walk across it. You are responsible for your side of the equation, your deep listening, your skillful speech, your compassionate presence, your humble self-reflection. The rest is not up to you. The other person's reception is a product of their own karma, their own journey, their own realm. You must speak your truth with as much skill and love as you can muster, and then you must let it go. Your peace cannot be dependent on whether or not they finally understand you. Your stability must come from the integrity of your own expression, not the validation of their reception. When you commit to this path, a profound transformation occurs. The pain of being misunderstood slowly dissolves, replaced by a deep and abiding compassion. You no longer feel like a lonely alien, but like a calm and stable anchor in a turbulent sea. People may still not fully grasp the source of your stillness or the depth of your practice, but they will be drawn to its effects. They will feel the peace in your presence. They will sense the safety in your non-reactive listening. They will appreciate the clarity of your thoughtful words. You stop needing to be understood, and in that moment, you begin to create understanding around you. You become a source of stability for your family, your workplace, your community. You have transformed the final sign of isolation into the first step of true leadership and service. You have learned that the purpose of cultivating an inner realm of peace is not to hide in it, but to become an ambassador for it. The freedom you seek, therefore, is not the freedom of escape, the freedom of being from another realm. It is the freedom of mastery. It is the freedom to walk in this world with all of its chaos and confusion, and to remain centered, compassionate, and effective. This requires the constant discipline of refining your communication, of deepening your empathy, of polishing the mirror of your own self-awareness. The story of your origin is a distraction. The reality of your present practice is the path. Let go of the comforting myth that you are a stranger here. Embrace the much more challenging and rewarding truth that you are a part of this world, and that your practice has prepared you for the sacred work of bringing a little more clarity, a little more stillness, and a little more understanding to it. Your work is not to prove you are from another realm. It is to demonstrate what is possible in this one. Do not seek refuge in a story of being from another world. Seek instead the skill and the courage to build a bridge to the one we all share. If you are ready to transform the pain of misunderstanding into the power of compassionate action, to turn isolation into connection, then affirm that choice by liking this video. Subscribe to the Shaolin Path to continue learning the sacred art of building bridges, both within yourself and with the world around you. Until next time, speak from stillness and listen with your whole being.